we are live. Hey everyone. Say hi guys.
Hello.
So, sorry medyo late today, but better late than never. I always say. And tonight we have a special episode, and I'm so happy that we have a special guest joining us again for
Mm-hmm.
for the first time in a
Alex.
long while. So, hi guys. So my name is John, and I'm part of the Level Up crew. And together with me, I have our boss mang CEO, COO, John. Hey John. And of course, we have our uh, Gundam kit builder, Alex.
Our
Hello.
mobile suit Gundam.
And of course, our resident bear, who has not been with us for a very long time, Gio. Say hi, Gio.
Hi. Hi, Gio.
So we have one more guest supposed to be joining us, but he is coming from the airport. We'll see if he'll be able to join us tonight. And tonight we have a special topic. Our topic is finding God in Transformers One. Yun. So were we all able to watch the movie Transformers One?
Joke lang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, what? This is for Transformers 1? Let me just get off.
Akala ko G1. Joke.
Oh no.
Akala ko Godzilla. Joke lang.
First episode of G1, no? Literal Transformers 1.
That's true, but no, we're talking about Transformers 1, the movie that came out this year. This one.
Yeah.
And also there with Gio. Welcome to Iacon City. So, so how? Let's get started.
Yeah. So what are we
So,
talking about, John?
just to give a bit of background, what is Transformers 1? So, most of us probably have an idea of Transformers in a general sense. But I would like to invite Gio and Alex to give us a little parang we're gonna do like a really short recap of what the movie is for people who don't know it. How would you describe what is Transformers One? So any volunteers from either of you?
Shall I start?
Sige, go.
Yeah, so Transformers 1 is the origin story of the Transformers. In if I had to put in one phrase, so like this is before Optimus Prime is Optimus Prime. Same with how before Megatron was Megatron.
Ah, okay,
Uh,
that's a good summary. Hmm. Sige,
Okay.
ikaw, Alex. Ikaw
So,
na.
I will add to that. So, this movie was from the original storyline of Transformers, in which ngayon lang siya pinakita. Ngayon lang pinakita yung origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron, in which from the panels meron ding changes from it, but nandun yung general origin story that those two, spoilers, were best friends. So, yun.
We do see that in the introduction trailers naman. And we have our final guest who has just slid into our not DMs. Si Vince. Who's setting up. But we can continue. So yun. Transformers 1 is the origin stories of the beloved Transformers series. Particularly yung main hero and villain representing the two factions, the Autobots and Decepticons. So this was when everyone was just called a Transformer. There were no Decepticons, there were no Autobots back then. And this is what establishes how they formed and how they became to be, particularly represented by these two characters, si Megatron and Optimus Prime. So coming into the show, um, where did we have any particular expectations na what we wanted to see or whatnot?
I mean,
Uh, ano ba?
because the movie was barely marketed, to be honest. Like
Uh,
I just knew of I was only able to watch that one trailer from before. That
mhm.
it was gonna be a humorous movie, and that's all I really knew about it.
Oo nga eh.
So
Honestly, I didn't know about it until I don't know, they were already watching it. The guys were
actually,
watching it.
yeah. So the only reason I knew that it had already shown in cinemas is because I saw it in like shorts, like TikTok, YouTube
Yeah.
shorts, that kind of stuff. Like I'd see like lots of different people's reaction to the different scenes.
Mhm. Which is kind of a shame because having watched it,
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, this actually I wouldn't have minded paying a ticket price to watch this. It seems quite fun. Uh,
Mhm.
like it's not a movie that after you pay a ticket price for it, it'd be like, oh, I should not have bought a cinema ticket for this movie. It's yeah, I mean it's like it's a nice, fun, solid movie. Very good on the visuals, and a decent voice acting. Okay siya.
Actually,
So
like I said, ako personally, I didn't even know of it until they were actually watching it. And then like I jumped in like several minutes after they already started. And then like
Mhm.
let's see more about this because you know, big Transformers fan when I was young. I watched the original 80s show and what do you call this? So I'm kind of curious as to how they were going to retell the storyline from perspective of before the Great War, before the war between the Autobots and Decepticons. So,
that's
um,
true because we always hear it referenced, but we don't know how life was before during Cybertron as it's
yeah.
at its prime. And actually, we do see bits of it in the movie. So, sige. So anyhow, sorry na hijack ko yung moment mo dyan. Parang, ah,
So really more of that. Really, it's just more of the. I wanted to see how the story was, um, because prequels are often not done well. Honestly, uh, a lot of people like making prequels nowadays to show like backstory and whatnot. But I find that many prequels are not done well. So,
ah,
'di ba?
ay,
I think Alex agrees with me.
Yep.
okay, so let's work with that. Like, what made this a good prequel for you? So, ano yung points ng story or yung mga characters or whatever, anything about the movie? Like, what made this a good prequel for you? So, alert lang to anyone watching this. This is obviously gonna be a spoiler alert kind of show because we are gonna try to unpack what we like or what we don't like about it
Right.
and what we can learn from it. So, Alex, back to you.
Okay, so let me start on yung what made it a good prequel for me. So, generally, yun nga, it's the first time they will show yung origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron. So, for fans out there na nagbabasa ng comics, alam nila yung origin stories. Pero yung mga walang access dun sa comics, dun nila nakita yung, oh, so magkaibigan pala sila and merong connection yung dalawa from the beginning in which it resonates also dun sa other medias in which Prime wishes uh, Megatron to be good again. Pinakita yun dun sa isang episode na from Transformers Prime in which parang may longing si Optimus Prime na makasama niya ulit si Megatron to rebuild Cybertron. So, in this movie, we go back to where did they start? Na, yun nga, they're friends and they were minors. So, throughout the movie, in-explain why, bakit ganon yung start nila and parang their cogs were taken away. So, for reference of the viewers, yung cogs is what makes or enables a transformer to transform. So, maraming laman kasi yun nga, hindi alam nung fans, yung regular fans or yung hindi nag-deep dive yung origin stories nila, in which mas makikita nila kung bakit nag-turn si Megatron, in which pinakita yung buong background and yung reasons nila to change.
Okay.
Right.
Actually,
Right.
Yes.
this is not the first origin story ni Optimus and
Megatron.
what do you call this, Megatron. This is a prequel that changed the canon story of Optimus and Megatron. Kasi, and it's not as an term. I think this is more of a reimagining of the storyline because in the original story, Megatron was a gladiator transformer
You're talking
while
comics?
no, this is the animated one. So hindi lang siya comics. So this is part of the released animated series ng Transformers. Kasi you have the comics, you also have the animated series of si Transformers Prime, iba pa kasi yung Wizwars, so that's a different thing. But and then there's
War for Cybertron.
yan. So in the quote unquote align, kasi they what they did was they did a Star Trek and they made different timelines for different stories. For one, I think this is the new timeline. Pero in Prime kasi they had this is, if you think about it kasi, it's not as catchy, trendy, or hip kasi si Optimus Prime, who was known as Orion Pax back then, he was a clerk in the Hall of Records. So he was a scholar and nerdy guy who was he wanted to si Megatron warrior from the get-go, and the Decepticons
He was a gladiator, yeah.
one of the reasons why if you notice yung hatian sa original storyline that the Decepticons are more attack type na yung mga kinukuha nilang mga what do you call it, combat, because they were mostly gladiators and they were mostly talagang they were mostly soldiers. Meanwhile, si Orion Pax at si Prime, yun yung the citizens, the other side of Cybertron. So parang if you're going to look at it, pwede mo tawagin class war siya of sorts. Pero yun nga, that's the original one. Now moving on to Prime, to 1. It's
they did keep some of that. They did keep some of that.
They kept the friendship. Kasi the core storyline kasi was they were friends. Tapos dumating sa point na Megatron thought that Optimus betrayed him. That's why he started the Cybertronian War with him. So yung core essence ng origin story ng animated or at least nung Prime is still there moving forward to 1. Yun lang sa akin. Yun yung sinasabi ko.
Yeah, there are some differences obviously. So like as you were basically narrating us yung original origin stories versus the current you could say modernized
soft reboot.
Soft reboot. What's maintained is friendship of the two characters were there.
Then sense of betrayal din. Yung the reason why.
Sense of betrayal is there. Pero the interesting point of the sense of betrayal is that the betrayal is not because Megatron was betrayed by Optimus.
Yeah,
He felt
he thought.
betrayed by
The leaders.
the system.
Mm,
Yeah.
He was betrayed by the system, which originally siya yung guy in this movie. So Megatron, or it was known prior to becoming Megatron, is he was ano yun?
D16.
16.
D16. So D16, and he actually idolized the Primes. The Primes being the chosen leaders of all of the Transformers, empowered by the creator
Primus.
mm,
figure known as Primus. So, funny point is one of yung pinaka-idol niya was
mm,
Megatronus.
Megatron Prime, which he eventually took the name but removed the Prime because he would no longer believe in the Prime. So he basically lost his faith in the system. You could say he lost his faith in his creator, in God. Diba?
mm,
Yung robotic. Kasi yun naman talaga. Pero Primus was basically their God and their creator. And he's
So
just
in
like,
other words, backslider. Just kidding.
not even a
Ah,
back.
that's backsliding, man.
No. Let's not go there. Pero hindi siya backslider. Talagang
Hindi siya backsliding.
rebel against the system siya. He just said,
We'll get to that
gonna
point
believe
later.
that. Yes. So, yes,
Right.
not to overdo the church culture thing because that's anyway.
That's
So
what
yun
you
yung
do.
point ni yun yung storyline ni Megatron. Yung storyline naman ni Optimus, what stays the same is that he is still the guy who wants to read, to learn, to know what's going on. So they
Okay.
He
kept
started the movie with that actually.
Yes, exactly. They kept his scholarly adjacent in the idea na he wants to learn things. So he's always digging up stuff. Kaya medyo rebellious yung nature niya.
He's still curious. He's still,
Yes.
he is optimistic.
He is
Basically.
optimistic. Kaya naging Optimus
Yun
siya.
nga, actually. Kaya I was watching that. Ang optimistic niya, ay, okay. Optimus.
Yes, he's an Optimus. Yes, and he never actually he did not idolize the Primes, but he highly respected them.
Mm-hmm.
Yun yung funny thing kasi yung kay Megatron, yung si D16 or si pre Megatron was
He
sobrang
idolized
an idol. He idolized everything about the Primes. He idolized their life, their city.
to the point he couldn't think they could do any wrong.
Yeah, it's like hindi, they're not. There can there be no wrong, blah blah blah. Whereas si Prime is like, no, we can't just you can't just stay the way we are. We have to do something. We have to be a part of this. We have to, reach beyond, go beyond what we are. You must show them that we are more.
They are more, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he was always striving to do more, and that's a good character point for him. So there are a lot of other characters that are fun too, but we can start with those.
In a sense, I think okay nga na yung character ni D16 is someone who has idolized the Primes. Parang it's in a way where people in our world tend to idolize people, and then pag nasira yung idol nila for whatever reason, magkakaroon ng disillusionment, and they suddenly act out, because of how everything was a lie, yung mga ganon. So parang it's an interesting contrast that it's very the way they present the characters, though they're Transformers, they're very human-like in the way that they act and respond to things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yun.
Okay. So, we can deep dive into yung si Pax, si Orion Pax, and si D16. But before we really go into that, kasi yun naman din yung pinaka-meat na natin. I would like to just have a few parang appreciation points for if there's
For the
anything
other
else in the stories, yeah. Before we go back to Orion Pax and D16. Kasi the other characters are also fun to engage, although hindi as deep. So, any honorable mentions on
Ano ba?
anything else in the story
Alex,
or other
do the voice.
characters?
Okay.
or-
Well,
Alex, do the
Whatever.
voice.
I have something
But
to
as it Ron.
talk about. No, I was gonna talk about Elita 1, where
Oh yeah. Actually,
even though she thinks, well, when it comes to like skills and other abilities, and I guess she, as she said it, she is better than Prime in a lot of things, right?
yeah, it was.
But she was also humble enough to admit that she is she isn't hopeful. She's not as optimistic as he is. She doesn't see.
She doesn't see the world as the way that that Orion Pax
Right.
does.
Yeah.
Right.
Elita was
And,
was ano siya eh, parang
and I think she just sees like
Mm.
people have their different purposes and things that they can do that another person cannot. Like, yeah.
she's
And I
she's
think it
more
is a
pragmatic. She's more pragmatic, I think. Quote unquote, realistic yung viewpoint niya sa reality. She is
Though,
she
yeah.
optimizes her reality, but she's not exactly optimistic. Yun yung nang take.
She
Though at
is,
the
ano,
start,
she-
was
she's,
just- at the start she was basically just a career
She's a-
person.
Yep.
She's a pragmatic
But she-
person, basically. Well, sorry. She's a pragmatic Cybertronian. They're not really persons, guys.
They are living material.
They're not-
Living metals.
They're not
Yeah.
people. They're
Stop. I'm gonna use a big
Cybertronic,
word when you stop being pedantic.
Yeah. I mean, this is the best place to be pedantic, isn't
We
it?
are
Right?
analyzing things and people, so
Yeah.
I'm just
But
saying that-
anyway, besides the point, she was very, very pragmatic. And, parang, I think it's more, I like the contrast of the three main characters, I guess.
oo.
Na you have the optimistic, you have the pragmatic, and then you have the scarred one. So parang ano yun eh. Look, Optimus looks to the future, RC looks to the now, and then Megatron looks to the past.
Hindi si RC
And
yun,
that's-
si Elita yun, sorry.
Basta yun sa Elita.
No,
Basta,
but she becomes
she
RC.
eventually becomes RC.
I'm sorry
So-
to break it to you guys, but RC was in the crowd. Elita is Elita. Separates.
Fine. Elita looks to the now.
If I'm really?
Si
Iba.
Si Elita Battle Angel looks to the now, and then you have Megatron who can't get out of the past. Alam mo yun?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
they're good contrasts for all of them.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Elita kasi is the main female.
Battle Angel.
Yeah,
Ay,
main
sorry.
female POV
Female Barasatron.
in this story.
Berazatron.
And there are other quote-unquote female characters. Of course, you have Sentinel Prime and his lieutenant, si ano yun?
Arachnid.
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 Mm.
Not Arachnid, but
Reminds me of Arachnia from Beast Wars.
Beast Wars.
Yeah, I think she's basically the model for it. I
Yeah,
think
it's a direct reference to it.
it is a
To
direct
Beast Wars.
Because
But
also
apparently-
the other Prime, the old Prime, voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, si Zeta Prime, Alpha Trion, not Zeta. Si Alpha Trion transforms into a lion? No, cougar. So
Some
that's
kind of maybe a tiger or some sort.
yeah. It's basically a predatory cat, large predatory cats. So that also is a reference to the Beast Wars thing.
Yeah.
So the both of them are Beast Wars references. Kasi they're the whole, we're old guard, are we?
I mean, if
Kind
you
of-
want another reference,
Yes.
in a different cartoon, Elita 1 mutated into a spider robot thing.
Really?
So, yeah, I forget what is the name of that animated series.
Well-
I can look it up.
Sige. Well, in any case,
Continue.
in any case, she represents your very competent, very present day oriented, practical career woman, and that's how kind of she took into that's how she got roped into it. Because she got dragged into the mess of Pax and D16, semi by accident, and she's like, okay, fine, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right, and I'm gonna take charge because I do things right. So parang I do things correct. I do things well. And sino pa bang ano natin? Of course, our main
Yeah,
villain.
Bumblebee. Si Bumblebee. Don't forget
Si
Bumblebee.
B1 to B1 to 8.
But
27.
Yes. AKA B.
27.
Si Bad Astron.
So it's a comedy point. He calls himself Bad Astron because he has social dysfunction. He created his own persona for himself. We don't know why he got sent to the.
Pero
Yes,
I'm sure. I'm sure we can imagine.
He is
I feel-
he is the Deadpool of the Transformer franchise.
He asked too many questions, guys.
Yeah.
He asked
I- I-
too
I-
many
That's too
questions.
much.
I think,
Madaldal siya, madaldal.
I was gonna say it's more like Spider-Man than Deadpool.
I think nga I think he is on the spectrum. He's like a representation of someone on the spectrum. Kasi grabe naman yung ano niya yung energy niya.
ADHD energy.
I don't know,
Yung
maybe.
ADHD/autism energy niya parang
I-
iba.
I hesitate to use that reference because that does a disservice to people on the spectrum.
That's
Kasi ano
true.
sila, comedy relief. Anyway, but the point is he is a comedy relief character for whatever reason. But he also is like ironically next to Megatron, he was or rather Megatron actually. He was one of the most combat effective characters.
Actually, when he got the
the
weapons,
movie, yes.
He's very dangerous, you know.
I've got
Once he got his cog, which is a story point. So, okay, let's go back to the story. So these characters, yung mga laborer force, you have your cog characters and your non-cog characters, right?
Mhm.
So the setting, which is another thing I like, you have a really huge setting, Cybertron as a techno world, but there is organic stuff. And then you have their enemies, sino nga yung kalaban nila? Yung mga
Quintessence.
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 Quint.
which are
Quintessence.
also robotic creatures,
Biomechanical
biomechanical and
and
so they're biomechanical enemies of the Transformers,
Transform.
which they've been fighting for
The longest time.
a huge time, and natalo lang sila because Sentinel Prime, who is our hero figure at the start, but we find out that he's actually a backstabbing.
Sus.
Basically, he was a traitor to the Primes, and he sold them out for. He was just
Some
tired.
change.
He was tired of being, this war. You guys are annoying, so I'm just gonna get in for myself and selfishness. Basically, it was a selfish decision. Like he got tired of serving his duty, and instead he wanted to just sell out and like supply them with the infinite energy from the energon of Cybertron. So, major plot points. Now, unfortunately for him, yung matrix of leadership which allows Cybertron to have the infinite energy basically said, no, you're a terrible person. I will not supply you with infinite energy. Goodbye. And he had to create this whole false reality na natalo yung mga primes through and I was the only one. I was the only one who survived. I will protect what's left and blah 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 blah. And he ends up stealing all of the cogs from the generations onward of the Transformers, and he creates two societies, right? So you have the cogless, and then the ones with the transforming cogs. So the elite, and then everyone else. So the elite and middle class have the transforming cogs, and then your lower class have no transforming cog. So they have no access to their powers. But that's what they use to create yung ano yun? Yung mga binebenta niya to the enemy, yung quintessons.
And Energon.
Yes, basically he couldn't farm energon, so he just extracted it from their cores. All right. So, how do we want to tackle that story point? There's a lot. There's a lot to go there.
Actually.
Hmm.
Personally, parang when I look at it from a big picture standpoint, it really is it's really a question of when injustice happens, how do we respond to it? No? Which is kinda appropriate because I mean, if we look at general political and I'm not gonna go into politics per se, but when you look at general political
Politics?
atmosphere of the Philippines or even in the US,
In the world at large.
and the world at
actually.
large, this is always a question. Do you when you actually see injustice now, do you sit idly by, or do you act? And if you do act, how do you act? How do you respond? No, and I think this is in essence, this is where the story of Transformers One shows it, that how each individual character responds to the injustice that they actually
Witness.
witness. Well, some
Experiencing
might be,
din
parang,
din.
some might be
Experience. Yes.
defeatist na parang wala naman tayong magagawa bakit pa tayo mag-struggle, versus meron namang mga nagsasabi na parang no, we must make it right, and then there are those who feel like they have been betrayed, so we must take revenge, diba?
That's true.
Vengeance is there.
Exactly. So, yun yung different takes. So, si Optimus and si Megatron, as they name themselves after, transforming into their final forms, so to speak. So, Megatron's reaction is yung, I have been betrayed. I will never allow myself to be put in a position of betrayal. I will not trust anyone. There will be no one above me except myself. Therefore, I must destroy everything that will be put above me. Which is what starts the war between him and Optimus, and actually Cybertron at large, because he refuses to be part of a structured society. He refuses to be part of anything which would have authority over him. The only authority is himself.
It's basically me with trust issues.
Yeah, he's basically a person with serious trust issues. Wala nang trust. Yun.
Yeah,
I-
why trust people?
Yeah, why trust people? Because why love people? They can only betray and hurt you. Oh, diba?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, point is, this shows us that it's in the long run, we see that actually that leads Megatron to being very destructive, not just to himself but to everything around him. So much so that
And to
his
Starscream's
entire
voice.
and that everything gets ruined.
Mm-hmm.
And to Starstream's voice, yes. Whereas on the other hand, we have Optimus, who, despite being betrayed, actually yung irony nga dito is that Optimus does not actually betray Megatron. It's Megatron who betrays him.
Actually.
Yeah, like going through the story, Optimus tries to find ways to reconcile things, to make things better. It's just that Megatron is like, no, your path
It's wrong.
is wrong because it requires us. Basically, it requires them to forgive. It's like your path is wrong because it requires you to forgive, which
requires me
means
to
we have to
replace a dog.
compromise. Which means we have to put ourselves in a state now. We could be, we have to trust people again. We have to
If-
cooperate with them.
if you
We
think
have
about
to,
it, though,
uh-oh.
If you think about it though, in a lot of cases in stories of villains and not just villains, but generally people who have a certain mindset, if you they see Megatron in D16 had this mindset that if you're not for me, then you must be against me. And that's I
Alright,
think it looks-
are you commenting on current society, maybe?
Well, yes, this also does touch current
but
society. It has to.
in a sense, D16 is looking at, if you're not for me, then you're against me, then that's the betrayal. Because you're not for me. No? Ganon kasi yung labas nung betray. So in the eyes of D16, he was still betrayed, even though there wasn't really an actual betrayal that happened.
Kasi it's like
Right.
your views are not aligning what I want to view.
With I want to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Kaya nga diba dun
He
sa...
wanted to kill, like, he wanted to kill
spoiler alert,
Sentinel.
dun sa
But,
pagdating dun sa latter part, yung parang, I'm done with you. I've had enough of you.
Wait, let me add something to that point of
Sige,
view
go,
of D16.
poster.
Kasi on the other side of the spectrum na yes, best friend si Orion Pax and si D16.
Right.
But hindi natin nakita na, or if you look deeper dun sa position ni D16, parati din siyang nadadamay, parati
Yeah.
din siyang
Yes.
nagliligtas
Right.
kay
He's always-
Orion Pax, in which parang for him
He's
yung
always being
turning
dragged
point
along.
na pag yung abusive friendship nandun eh.
Napapagod na akong tulungan ka.
si D16.
Orion is
Because-
taking,
Yeah.
but he's taking him for granted or something.
No, not for granted. It's more of Orion is always doing what he wants without considering the effects of it on other people, specifically D16. And I think that's the reason why he got so pissed off na rin. Kapag nakalawa ko na, tama na. Kalokohan mo na naman to,
It does
dadamay mo na
happen-
naman ako.
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, it does happen a lot. Like yung, I mean, he got him included in when he was running away from Darkwing at the train.
Yeah.
Like literally, D16 had to cover for him. And then after that was at the race where he just wanted to watch, but then Orion decided the two of them would
Let's
join.
be part.
Let's do something. Let's go somewhere
So
else.
does that
And then even further on when they found out the tracker for where the last where the
cave
Matrix
was.
would be,
Yeah.
same thing, yeah. And then I believe there was another thing where D16 wanted to already like attack and kill, I think, Sentinel at the time, but
Yeah,
then
Sentinel Prime.
but then he stopped him, and then the final part nga na he was about to kill him, and then Orion got in the way.
Yeah, because he was trying to say na this is not the way to get justice. Diba? Parang na-expose na nga siya. The exposure, and I'm assuming that he wanted to like use yung normal way of like trial,
Justice,
and
injustice.
Like, let's execute justice the correct way.
So having said
Don't-
that, does that mean
Uh-huh.
Orion Pax is a toxic friend?
It wasn't a healthy relationship in my point of view. Yun lang yung opinion ko. Kasi
Hindi
yun nga,
siya equal. Hindi siya equal.
pinakita dun sa
Well-
kasi yung feelings ni D16 after na nagkaroon na spoiler, he almost killed Orion Pax dun sa latter part before maging Optimus Prime si Orion. Kasi
Okay.
nandun yung weight yung nakikita natin yung change nung eyes niya na meron siyang regret. Pero yun nga, yung weight na binigay ni Orion Pax on D16 was too heavy, in which na-block off lahat nung yung pakikinig niya kay Orion. Kasi yun nga, parati siyang napapahamak, in which
Lagi siyang
Kapag-
talo.
na all the way, binibigay talaga ni D16 yung trust niya kay Orion, in which kahit anong adventure pa yan, then parang nagugulat na lang siya, anong gagawin natin? Parati siyang nilalagay ni Orion Pax, sad to say, dun sa dangerous
peligro.
stuff,
Yeah.
dun sa
Mhm.
maraming consequences, in which minsan nakakatanggap pa siya ng suntok or what, para lang kay
Oh
Orion.
yeah. Or right. He did get punched by Dark.
Yeah.
That's true. So this is like this is an interesting point kasi clearly si Orion Pax or si Optimus is not a perfect leader.
Yeah.
which is not the perfect friend at all, diba? He is very fallible, diba? In terms of competency, mas magaling si Elita 1, diba? At the work, at pretty much almost everything. And then in terms of like maintaining his friendships, he wasn't really doing the best,
They
diba?
were pretty much opposite.
Mm.
Because
So
like Optimus was very, what's the word? Open with his emotions and expression. Like
Hearts
when
on
he
the
was
sleeve.
angry. Like when he was angry at Darkwing, he was literally about to transform him the finger. And but then, but then, and then you have D16 who's always very reserved, trying to, as he thought
He was
was the
being
right thing to
very
do.
Asian.
he's
As he
very
thought was the real good
very
was the right
repressed.
thing, was to be respectful and also
Yeah.
follow all the rules.
Lower your head. Don't make a noise. The nail that's the head of the nail that stands out the most gets hammered the hardest.
Yeah,
Wow.
That kind of thing.
that kind of thing, correct.
I,
So in
I think
that case, yun nga, he
if
was very wala, he was very repressed.
and I guess
Yes.
He's very Asian.
it actually makes more sense if you think about it.
Makes sense
From,
that why that you're the same. Anyway,
Mhm.
go.
no, it makes sense in the perspective that now parang Optimus Prime, who is in his later years much more mature, has that regret na gano'n na lang yung relationship nila dalawa ni ano, 'di ba? Ni Megatron,
Right.
'di ba? And it if
And
you look at that sa ano, parang I could have been a better friend. I could have been ano, parang someone who really took care of his emotions, so to speak. No? So parang and understand Megatron better,
Mm.
or no. But of course at the same time we also have to think of the perspective na Megatron made his choices eh. At the end of the day it's still Megatron
Yeah.
that made his choices eh.
He made his
So
bed. He made his
Diba?
bed.
his choice was to follow Optimus, and he chooses to blame Optimus for,
There is that.
despite it was his choice to let himself be dragged along.
So pareho silang toxic. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, like with like even in the race, like
No,
he
yeah,
didn't
no.
have to participate, right?
What I meant is I was asking JB because he was the one who asked a while ago na kung si Optimus ba was a toxic friend. Now that we discussed this other side, are you saying both of them are toxic?
Like Alex said, the relationship is toxic.
The relationship is
Which is
toxic, I think.
toxic.
I think
Pero-
the problem is not that they were toxic per se. It's just that
We can have people of differing personalities and beliefs still
Yeah.
work together and be able to.
I think I
Live
think both naman
together.
kasi genuinely wanted to be friends with each other, but they never really saw eye to eye. Gets no? Parang they really just had different opinions, different thoughts. And parang
Well-
because they wanted to make the friendship work, they allowed each other to be involved in these situations that both of them would are not hindi siya healthy, so to speak.
Yeah. Ang take ko dyan is also more of like they were there for each other. The problem is, which is funny because they're machines. But anyway, the problem is they did not have the proper emotional processing to deal with yung weight that was building up in their hearts and their minds, especially on the side of Megatron, rather D16. So Optimus's greatest failure was he kept pushing forward
Without
So yun,
considering yung
without checking the
Considering.
now,
Mm.
without checking the now and the past. He did not learn from the now and the past. Na
His head was in the clouds.
his head was he was too much in the clouds. Whereas in Megatron again, we were saying Megatron D16 was too past oriented, diba? Kept getting dragged forward. So if they were able to come together in the present, like okay, because they're functionally immortal, right? And you can't say they don't have time to talk because you are functionally immortal.
Actually, on that timeline, I mean, dun sa current na nangyayari sa kanila with the betrayal and stuff, hindi talaga sila nakapag-usap
That's true.
properly.
They were actually supposed to talk a few times already. Kaya
Oo.
lang something
Sa movie, oo.
happened.
Sa movie, oo.
Mm.
Pero if you look at the movie also, the movie establishes that and his hijinks have been going on for a long time. So
Yeah.
parang between the start of this movie and the start of their friendship, which apparently has been going on for a long time, there was opportunity to get deeper. Except it seems like they never did. Diba? Parang pinagtiisan lang ni D16, ni Megatron yung stuff ni
I think yung, ang ano nga nun parang si Orion Pax never stopped to consider how it is affecting D16. And D16 on the other hand, just kept quiet. Never said, alam mo yun, he would complain at the time, when incidents are happening, but after that, wala na siya sasabihin. So parang he kept most of the anger and what do you call that? Yung resentment to himself.
Ay, sorry.
But he
Yes.
was always been manipulated with her. Sad to say.
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
So, let me explain the part of the movie that
Sige.
Orion Pax said that what would Sentinel Prime think if you hand him the
Mhm.
matrix of leadership?
Manipulative.
That's,
He was
that's really
blinded.
manipulative.
He was blinded to his own idolatry.
So kids lesson is don't have an idol.
Well, yes.
Tama naman.
Well, yes.
Mhm.
Just don't put people on pedestals. In the end, they're still people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Cybertronians in pedestals.
Well, they need altars if you collect them as dolls.
That's a
Pero diba,
That's a hobbyist thing, sorry.
Hobby.
I think jumping ahead to the point
Okay.
where they discover the betrayal.
Hmm.
Yun nga doon mo makikita na iba-iba yung reaction nung nila eh. I mean the reaction of Orion Pax, the reaction of D16, the reaction of Beratron. The reaction of Elita 1 where they were different eh. Iba-iba yung nila eh. No?
Mm.
And I think this is also where it's learning to process what you experience eh, especially in strong deep emotions like the feeling of betrayal.
When the feeling is gone. Ay, sorry.
And of course,
Betrayal.
and definitely the feeling betrayal is one of those masakit. No.
Top 10 anime betrayal.
No. And actually, sa totoo lang, in a lot of villain origin stories, you will notice that it's connected to some sort of betrayal.
I feel.
Yes.
I feel like I was gonna say about si D16 ulit, yung emotional capacity din. I feel, and kasi if like he was a little bit more mature at the time when Alpha Trion had like revealed Sentinel Prime's treachery. I feel like he probably wouldn't have ended up with his mindset that he doesn't want any more leaders above him kind of thing. Because like in the end the 13 primes were all still actually very good leaders in the end. They were all very good leaders. It's just that they were all just victims of betrayal nga eh. And had they survived them, this is just me speculating now, had they survived, like I feel like they would have made good leaders. It's just the fact that he had thought lang na Sentinel was a prime, and that's what also broke his
Mind.
shattered his reality with regards to leaders. Lang. Kasi after that, he just didn't want to listen to any Prime at all na eh.
Mhm.
Tsaka,
So it's just a thought, like I feel like if he had just a bit more maturity when it regards to just
Dealing with
reflecting on his
the
feelings
no.
and
Mhm.
dealing with the whole betrayal and his grief, it might have turned out differently.
Also, I think the betrayal is also bigger because of the cogs that were taken from the
Ah, yeah.
start.
yeah.
That's a very big thing for
You were not only
for
betrayed.
Transformers.
You were not
Right.
only
Like
betrayed, but you were also you were also ano yung term? You
Denied
were
your identity.
also denied who you were and told that you were nothing all your life.
Sounds like a fascist regime.
yeah, basically, yeah, his whole life he was lied to nga.
It
Yeah,
basically is.
it's very big. How can you handle that
Yeah,
easily?
pero kasi at the same time, parang since we're already reaching that topic, I don't think na they showed it properly for me pagdating kay Megatron.
Yeah. Yung kay
Kasi,
Megatron was a more personal take. Kasi,
yeah. Tsaka, what I mean is, kasi when we were discussing this prior, after we just watched the movie, I mentioned yung I did not agree on how they did yung parang suddenly Megatron is not listening anymore to anyone because of what happened and all that. Kasi parang
Right.
they did not the movie did not set up any reason for him to act and to lash out the way he did in essence. Na parang overtly showing how parang there were already signs of the cracks and whatever. Kasi I rewatched the movie. There wasn't any there wasn't any shown eh. The only reason that now we see the cracks is because we're discussing it. So
pero
parang I think
medyo kulang yung
medyo kulang yung visual representation nila ng ganyan na natin telling a story. And I think that's one of the things na I would say na ano ba yung tamang term? I would say na they needed to work on sa movie. Yun lang.
I think personally it was just too fast. Yung movement, I think it was there.
Pag reveal, yes.
I think it was I think it was there. It just bilis lang ng
Yung actress parang what the heck?
biglang
Yeah.
nandun na siya kagad eh. So
I
parang
think I have read online na others
Yeah.
feel like it could have been 2 movies, the whole thing.
Yeah. Yung alam mo yung, the funny thing right now is Hollywood has the tendency to extend the movies into more parts. Pero now with Transformers 1, they just compressed everything.
it wasn't even a 2-hour movie. It was an hour and a half.
Mo, diba?
it's either too long or too short. It's
Yeah.
difficult to find the right sweet spot for the movie space.
I personally think that ako kasi parang I was watching it, it made sense para sa akin. Ang ano ko lang doon is ang bilis lang how we got there. Parang walang hingahan.
Like, binagsak nila yung betrayal to the Primes, yung removal of cogs, yung Energons
Sunod-sunod
being sold to
na.
the tatlo magkakasunod. And
That he was
ang-
the one who killed Megatronus.
Yeah, also yun, 4. Plus yung ano pa, yung feeling ng, di ba dapat it would be much better if we fight with the older Prime. So, kay Tryon.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh.
So-
and then another thing, no, finding out that not only did he betray them, he's also giving up their hard work energon to the enemy.
Yeah, their ancestral enemy na ilang
Centuries.
ever since.
So not only is he not only did he kill them to gain power, he's also like
Using
basically
them as
betraying them to the enemy, to the enemy to the
I-
enemy race.
Ano eh, parang, di ba, from the time that it was exposed to the time that got in touch with...
They were doing something about it.
Yung from the time it was exposed to the time they got to the camp of Starscream. Sabi ko, ang bilis nun eh. Nang parang okay, I understand yung parang galit siya, nagbi-build up yung galit, naiintindihan ko yung there's also that level of aloofness na parang I really don't care of doing what's right, I just want revenge. Tapos biglang boom 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 boom. Biglang sa dulo, nag-switch bigla, na kagad, nag full blow na yung niya, switch niya. Parang ako, wow, ang bilis to na.
Well, because there's two options. Either you do it as very slow burn, or it's explosive.
Yun nga eh, it's either that or at least naman lang you were shown visually that yung cracks were already forming around the psyche ni Megatron, and it wasn't shown at all.
No, it was shown naman. Hindi lang siya...
Hindi siya as
subtle lang
overtly.
Hindi siya overt ng It was shown naman. Makikita mo naman may mga hints na...
He represses feelings eh.
I wouldn't say it came out of nowhere, but it could have been better.
It could have been done better.
Could have been done. There could have
way
been more.
better.
Yeah.
Additional 30 minutes to play with.
Actually,
Ako nga,
kailangan
sabi ko,
30 minutes eh. 15 minutes.
Honestly, with how movies are nowadays, you'd expect 2 hours.
Honestly, I was thinking that they will reveal... come on, we all know that Sentinel Prime was the villain. But I honestly hope...
Not all.
Not
Not all.
everyone.
Not a lot of people. But I mean, they could have at least delayed that revelation to a later part. Na parang ang unang exposure nila na akala nilang villain si Arachnia muna. Arachnid, whatever.
Arachnid.
Yeah. Na parang siya yung she's a villain, blah blah blah. She's been orchestrating this all along. And then later on, tapos yung Sentinel introduce himself na siya talaga yung main villain. Yung mga ganon. Para medyo mas slow yung burn and mas stronger yung impact ng betrayal. Yes. But
John?
Like two-stage betrayal. Like the first betrayal would have been si Arachne lang, and then later on it's like we have to tell Sentinel that Arachne's betrayed him, and then they tell him, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah, I think yes.
No, it was me. It was me all along.
Oh, yeah, she never betrayed me because I was the villain.
So I just realized,
I don't know.
D16 was also influenced by the High Guard, so Starscream and company.
Yeah.
Because of the mindset,
Naingit siya dun sa freedom eh.
the mindset of
The one above another.
The one above another. So that also reinforces mindset that I should take revenge against.
I think that was a good beat,
Sentinel.
but
Yeah.
they
I
took
guess so,
that
yeah.
one too quickly. Feeling ko that one should have been developed
yeah.
a bit more. Like yung war
It could have
between the High Guard and yung city, so that they could have foreshadowed that a little bit. Like, oh, did you hear about the renegade?
Something,
Whatever. So they could have foreshadowed it a bit, and then put in a bit about freedom versus order, and then when they get there, it's like,
yeah.
this is not the kind of freedom that's right. Parang you have the Optimus, Orion Pax,
Like,
and
It could have been like them looking for the High Guard to fight or something against.
yeah, and then when they get there, Orion Pax would be like, wait a minute, this isn't the right kind of freedom. This is not the kind of freedom that we need to have. And then D16 could have been like, but this is freedom. This is the real freedom after all. Nobody should be above each other. Parang clutching onto something after his betrayal.
Just grasping for
Yeah. So I think that act transition that could have developed in an interesting way if they foreshadowed it a little bit.
But in a sense, parang makita mo rin naman na D16's belief system is what influenced him to act the way he was acting, to think the way he was thinking. Na-reinforce, parang yung belief system niya in the beginning kasi parang feeling ko talaga because ngayong he idolized the primes na parang they can do no wrong, and because his belief system was shattered because of the betrayal, nakita niya na parang nag-shift na the strongest is the one that has power. The one who is parang most powerful should be the one to take lead, to take charge. Parang ganun nag-shift eh. Which is not far from the idea that the primes are all powerful, all good, 'di ba? 'Di ba?
Not all primes are good.
Yeah, well.
Well, to be fair, Sentinel wasn't really a prime naman. But, yeah.
So,
False prime nga ning tawag sa kanya, di ba?
Well, wait, let me add this, just a piece of trivia. I read about Megatronus Prime. He was a traitor to Primus. So,
Yeah, in the comics, he's
yeah,
the
in the
fallen.
original, yeah, he's the fallen in the original line.
So,
And also there were theories about his cog. So if you notice, his cog is purple,
yeah,
which is different color with the normal
From the
cogs
others.
and
I think the
the
others are like orange or something.
no blue, the plain
Blue
blue
ba?
color, and so that represents in a way in theories dark energon. That's why his corruption is much larger in the sense and in the main lines.
Okay. Gets. Okay.
So parang yung cog na yun is attracted to yung sa, I guess, dark emotions and stuff. Kasi
Yeah,
it also went to Sentinel.
Hmm. So that was additional info about the dark energon. There was theories there because people were observing the changes of color. The color of boosters of Sentinel is purple, while the normal boosters are blue. And the fan base connected it to dark energon, that color purple.
So are they saying that it was
Megatron could
the
still been a
Sentinel
betrayer. We just never got the
was
chance.
all along? It was him. It was him all along. Is that what they're saying?
It was Agatha? Sorry.
Yeah, it could be another movie. the
was
movie about
him.
the prime.
I think we're in agreement that the pacing of the movie could have been split up into more parts to allow for more character development.
but having said that, I think that a lot of the characters did get good character development. Even if sabihin na natin na mabilis yung turn ni DD16, he actually had good character development.
He did.
That's what I think I appreciate with the movie, is that the characters actually had a lot of time to grow and develop, and you get to know the characters. Even the characters that did not have much character development, you kinda you kinda get to appreciate. Like ako na-appreciate ko bigla si Starscream dun sa movie na yon. Na parang parang there wasn't really much character development, but they actually gave him a lot of backstory. And even yung bakit yung voice na ganon. Parang ganon.
I like that one.
Diba?
Wait, what happened to his voice? It's because I missed that.
Megatron
Crushed
ruined him.
Megatron
Crushed it.
choked him.
Oh.
Yeah, Megatron was crushing his throat when he was about to right before the arm cannon showed up. And his voice
Right.
his voice box shattered.
So anyway, going back to the idea about yung beliefs influencing their reactions and responses, I think yun nga rin na when you look at how nga daw, di ba nga Elita 1 said to Optimus or to Orion that he looks at the world with optimism and hope and that's why parang the way he responded to the betrayal was, yes, he was hurt, but
He was not that hurt.
hindi siya bitter.
Ngayon.
Ang reaction niya is, we have to make this right. Parang justice yung nag-prevail na reaction sa kanya, na parang we have to make this right. No? Gets, hindi siya parang
I'm hurt, but then
I'm hurt, so I have to hurt him. Ganon. Hindi ganon eh.
they didn't say naman he wasn't hurt. It's just a matter of his priorities.
Yeah, he didn't fixate on his hurt status.
Which in a sense, I think that's why the Matrix of Leadership did decide to choose him. Kasi
Yeah,
diba
because-
parang,
Because in the end, he was still trying to prioritize everyone else over him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parang you could say in a sense, yung path forward for Optimus was a path which would lead to healing. So it's a path that would lead to continued life. So the Matrix of
ano yung
Leadership.
phrase? Don't be bitter, be better.
Well, yes,
Also,
true.
from a biblical perspective, he chose a narrow path eh. Because if you look at
Yeah.
it, siya lang yung ganun yung perspective. Kasi like, even Elita 1 and Bumblebee, nandun sila sa parang, we'll follow you, but at the same time, they're ready to give up. Gets
Yeah.
mo? Yung ganun yung, ano nila eh, attitude nila eh. Si
Right.
Orion
It's
Pax lang
easy to
yung,
either give up or just to go for vengeance.
diba?
Yeah.
And parang and consistently, that was the choice he was making. Na parang the difficult path, the narrow path, and from a biblical perspective, sometimes it is the difficult and narrow path that is the right path to choose. Diba?
Mm-hmm.
Not the easy way. Because the easy way is really, okay, let's gather all these forces, let's amass troops and then attack, ganun, which is what D16's way was, diba?
Mm.
So you can see the contrast between the two characters na parang one who is filled with bitterness and rage after what happened, and another one who was filled with hope and optimism despite the hurt, chooses the difficult and narrow path, no?
Mm.
And I think in a sense parang from a Christian perspective also parang many times the right path is the difficult and narrow path. And it's a question, are we willing to choose that path over the easy one?
Mm. Yeah, kasi yung pinili niya was like he chose to, I don't know, but like the direction he would go to is like it's a path of forgiveness, but not a path of trust. Like I think it seems like okay, we're gonna forgive Sentinel Prime in the sense now we're not gonna just kill him to satisfy
Right.
our anger and whatever. We'll subject him to our what's correct, justice or not. But we're not in here to satisfy our hurt. We're in here to save
To help.
Cybertron.
To help
to
Cybertron.
help. We want to save Cybertron, not galit lang tayo kay Sentinel, betrayed, I just want to kill him. It was a very, you could say it was a more loving perspective because it wasn't focused on himself. Like, yes, I was hurt. But how do we do things now that will be better for everyone? Whereas yung si Megatron was like, I was hurt, therefore, I won't allow anyone to hurt me. And he stopped there. Whereas si Optimus was, well, the more difficult thing is, he didn't just stop at himself. He was like, paano din everyone? Like, how do we help everyone? What is good for all of us? So, and he was willing to put his life on the line so much to the point na he blocked the shot for Sentinel, di ba?
Yeah.
So,
It now that you mentioned about the heart, naalala ko yung quote kay C.S. Lewis na love is anything and your heart will be wrong and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully around your hobbies and luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in a casket and of coffin of your selfishness. Pero 'di ba sabi niya doon na parang in that it will go cold, it will go
right.
it will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. And I guess in a sense ganun na nangyari sa puso ni ni D16, no?
Yes.
Because he didn't want anyone to hurt it, so he tried to put he put it away so he wouldn't ever get hurt.
Mm-mm. Essentially,
Even whatever love he had left for Orion Pax, nilet go niya na because he didn't want to get hurt anymore. In that sense, 'di ba? And I get it. I get na naging toxic yung friendship nila, pero 'di ba? Ganon din yun eh. Parang ayoko na masaktan, hindi na kita mamahalin, ganon. Bahala ka na sa buhay mo.
That sounds very apt. But that's not how life should be for us because we are called to love one another.
Love one another.
Yo, and it's not an option for at least for us Christians na to stop loving one another. It's hard, it's difficult, but that's the only way forward to us, diba? So that's part of our being salt and light for each other.
Huwag
Kailangan,
maging salty, be salt.
yes. Be flavor, don't be ano, wag mo sirain yung pagkain.
Don't dehydrate.
Also, parang contrast din na parang, no, when you have hope, people see the hope in you. Elita saw it, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Na parang, regardless, I'm better than you in every aspect. But you
But
have hope.
but you have hope, yeah.
Tapos,
I would have to say the person who had no hope, or rather, who should have no hope in their life is si Bumblebee, because he was all the way at the very bottom where no one knew he was.
Yeah.
He was very hopeful.
They buried
Yeah, but he shouldn't have had, but he did have hope.
yeah.
And even more so when Optimus was there nga to be a friend with him.
Yeah.
Tapos,
Badastron.
Badastron. Tapos nung Orion was parang rallying the miners to his side. Kita mo
yeah.
talaga na parang, no, we will follow you. We believe in you. Yung ganun na yung nila eh. Yung attitude ng heart nila because they could see the hope in him eh. That there can be a
First
better-
Peter 3:13. Woo.
Sige,
Sige.
read it out for us, sir.
Hindi ko na wait lang ah. 3:15 ba yan? Yeah, 3:15. But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have.
Amen.
Ooh.
Yes, because we do. That is the key thing. We should have, and we do have hope.
And I
Diverse.
think the interesting part then is that hope is not, I think one thing that we should remember, that hope should not be anchored on things na sana lang, yung parang wishful thinking, but rather hope that is anchored in something greater, something more permanent. No, parang like in the Christian context, or at least in today's context, that's in God, no? And God who saves, God who will be there, God who is what they call this, give you hope in the future, diba? A God who is for us and not against us, a God who will be there with us until the end of the age. And that's the kind of God that we have, no? And that's the kind of hope that we have. And I think parang in a sense, parang the way that Optimus has hope in the matrix of leadership, and the what they call this, the kind of parang future that the primes wanted for their people, is the kind of hope that we should have as well, diba? And may tumatawag.
No, sorry.
Yun. With that being said, siguro I wanna ask if there are any other lessons that we can pick up from Transformers 1.
Don't be bitter, be better.
For me, meron much personal.
Yes. Go.
So it's better, it would be a good siguro practice to talk to your friends deeply.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
So
that's
really spend time with your friends and talk to them on a personal level. Because yun yung naging parang kulang doon sa relationship ni Orion, Pax, and D16, in which sometimes we don't see that we are being toxic, we are being abusive, and we sometimes lack empathy to our friends. So in which to show love, we must show empathy, and we must listen to our friends also.
Empathy,
So,
empathy.
yun talaga yung
Sympathize me.
To the
This also
people
extends
around,
to family as
Yeah.
well.
Mm-mm.
family,
So,
friends, loved ones. Yeah.
important yun na makinig tayo din dun sa problems nila and how they feel about things. And
Mhm.
we should also be be considerate of the consequences of our actions. So, yun, we might end up losing a friend.
I think it's
Just
also
like
important,
Orion Pax.
just to add din sa sinabi mo, na parang pag sinabihan ka, dapat hindi ka defensive, be ready to accept feedback, be ready to accept criticism. Yes, Vince.
Ay,
Okay,
sorry.
how's your throat?
I was clearing my throat. I was, just listening to you guys. Being insightful as always.
Diba, totoo naman eh. Kasi sometimes, oo nga, we muster the courage to tell our friend or friends na ganito sila. And we still love them, pero ganito sila. Tapos, magagalit lang sa'yo. So, parang, diba, at the same time, we should be ready to receive feedback from our friends. Be ready na, with a humble heart. I know masakit sometimes naman talaga. But, your friendship with other people, your bond with other people cannot grow unless you learn to receive feedback eh. Diba?
Because none of us are perfect. So, we all have, ano yun, yung iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17, I believe. Diba? So, the only way for us to be perfected, for us to be good and refined is to allow that sharpening, that mutual sharpening. And yung mutual sharpening kasi is not comfortable. Like a knife that has been damaged, that has been chipped, for it to be polished back to a sharp and usable and effective blade, you need that rock, diba? And you have to work at it. And sparks happen. Sparks can be painful, diba? Masakit mag ng dull knife, diba? You might get cut if you're not careful with it. And even if it does happen, you still have to work at it. So, friendship is like that. Families like that. Relationships are like that. You have to allow and just you have to accept that, hey, it's not gonna be all pleasant. It is most likely going to be unpleasant because we have so many deficiencies ourselves. We have so many sinful thoughts or ways of thinking, believing, living. The best of us are still full of so many things na talagang when you clash or when you just live your life out with other people, especially people who are different from you, there will be a lot of polishing opportunities to refine and make each other better people.
Yeah.
So always be ready to accept different views of other people.
Yeah.
Yun eh.
So with that being said, do we have any final thoughts on Transformers 1 before we...
Don't be bitter, be better. Again.
I mean, the other point was about not idolizing other people. Like, you can admire them, but
From afar.
don't idolize them. Like,
Agree. I think I parang when we idolize people, we will eventually be disappointed because people will disappoint.
because people are people and we are not perfect.
Correct.
We are not perfect.
Yeah, I think that's good for me too. Look towards
But there is only one thing we can idolize. But he
Last
is
thoughts,
God.
Alex?
What? Meron pa?
Final
If
thoughts?
do you have any
wala
other thoughts?
nagbanggit ng
concluding
Kaya ba-
statement na si Alex eh.
wala nagbanggit dun sa cogs.
Transformers cogs.
Or yung line ng Transformers.
Yeah.
na
Okay. Okay. You're fine. I'll talk.
Go
about it.
to.
It's not the cogs that make a transformer. It's the spark within them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Right.
It's not the power that makes you who you are. Diba? Yung transforming power.
Yeah, in a sense, parang sabihin na natin na medyo toxic si Orion Pax at the beginning. There was just something about him na parang who he is na talagang was the hope nga, 'di ba, that made him who he is. It wasn't the him being given a cog that he can transform na. or him being given the matrix of leadership. Because he was that even before those things. Na-enhance lang. Parang ano nga, di ba, when we become a Christian, we receive the power of the Holy Spirit. Wow, nakonek ko talaga yun. So,
Yeah.
di ba? Parang we are entrusted with great power when we first learn to accept who we are and accept who we are in Christ in the same way, di ba? So, yun lang.
Right.
Yes.
Right. If you want more biblical parallels, out of it is God who provides, just like how Primus provides energon to the rest,
Amen.
to the world.
True. Siya yung actual provision. Rather than the much more fallible beings who enact his will.
Alright.
So,
Any last thoughts? Pa?
I think
Mahaba.
those are. We have done three rounds of last thoughts. I think that's enough. John. Okay na yung 3 rounds of last thinking.
Alright.
Wala na. There are no more thoughts to be had.
We've already passed the one. We've already passed the one brain cell all around.
Nagpasa na kami ng brain cells. But I think, I'm glad that we were able to talk about Transformers 1 because I think it's a really good movie. It has a lot of
You haven't
discussion
watched
points
it?
talaga. And if you haven't watched it, even with the spoilers,
Why are you watching
should...
this if you haven't watched it?
Yeah, but you should watch it. It's a
Give
really
it a watch.
good movie.
Fun
Ano?
watch.
And it was a fun watch, and regardless of your religious orientation. But you know, if you want to talk about that movie with us directly, we are available on Discord. We are on Facebook. We are even on YouTube. So just connect with
We
us.
can also discuss other movies.
Or anything.
Actually, we can discuss other
anything,
movies,
honestly.
other games, whatever. So,
Like
honestly,
Alita Battle Angel.
lol. Actually,
An,
we
under,
never.
an underappreciated movie, but yes.
I actually haven't seen that movie yet.
Okay.
We have to fix that. All right.
All right.
Okay.
So that's it, guys, for us for this evening, and we will see you in 2 weeks when we talk about the TV series season 2 of Arcane. All right. Thank you guys again. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Jaw.